The other day I was pondering over a list of my personal favourite cars across various eras when I noticed they all shared one thing in common: the straight six, aka the inline six. Today I have been entrusted with arguably the best car which makes use of this legendary engine block. It's the 993 911 GT2 from Porsche. I can't remember the last time I was so excited to get a handful of steering and sit behind the wheel of any other car. When growing up, kids tend to have superheroes, whether it be from cartoons, comics, or even wrestling superstars. If any of the above were to be replaced by the car, then my hero would be a Porsche 911. As a car enthusiast, you've often heard me rave about the 432 Fairlady being my favourite car of all time, and it is, nothing will change that. But as a young buck growing up, my first love was Porsche. Don't look at me like that, I'm being deadly serious. I mean, can you blame me? Come on, look at the way it handles, so precise, so responsive. The upshifts from the gearbox, instantaneous. It's everything that you want from a car. That's why I've got such an affinity to it. You see, the love affair started whilst watching the movie Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I think Will played a character called Mike Lowry, a rich kid cop who owned an all-black 911, the 964, which was the car before this one. Top speed of around 190 if I'm not mistaken. And no scene illustrated just how quick and powerful that car was than towards the end when they were trying to escape from a burning building and set off in chase of a villain on an airport runway. The straight six monstered the strip, and it was the first time I caught goosebumps from a car scene. From then on, I've always been in awe. Now what I've got in my hands is the 1995 911 GT2, also referred to as the 993, which is the company's internal name for the version of the Porsche 911 model manufactured and sold between late 1993 and early 1998, replacing the 964. Now the incredible thing is I've driven along this stretch of road many a times. Never before have I felt so comfortable taking it at such high speed, and that is one of the benefits of a Porsche. It's so planted to the ground that it often feels like you're chucking a hatchback around. You can let the back end slip out a little bit and bring it straight back in again like the crack of a whip. Now I must say, this car is special for numerous reasons, one of which being that its discontinuation marked the end of air-cooled Porsches, with the 993 being not just the last air-cooled 911, but also the last of the hand-built 911s. Considering the rarity of what I'm driving, I do feel a sense of guilt driving it around these winding roads with such high risk. I mean, for the love of all that's holy, it was hand-built. Although with that in mind, I somehow get the feeling old man Porsche would be more than satisfied if he were roadside watching me put this GT2 through its paces. And that's because the GT2 is a hardcore, race-focused version of the already fast 993 Turbo. It was born on the track, but then developed on the road. Only around 57 were made, making them one of the rarest 911s to roll off the factory line. And if you haven't noticed already, the car also came equipped with some serious aerodynamic refinements and bad to the bone fender flares. That big rear wing, keeping the car sane, keeping me grounded. Nakai-san and the boys at RWB did a fantastic job here. Now the straight six engine on its own is normally less flamboyant in its audio output than that of one in a V configuration, and for various reasons that are far too boring for me to go into. However, This straight six looks, sounds and feels like a living, breathing animal from the abyss. It's 3.6 litres, it has forced induction. They turbocharged this son bitch to the sound of 440 brake horsepower. Yes, oh yes. Oh, and to make things even more manic, they deemed the all-wheel drive system as being too boring and heavy, so all that power is being sent to the rear wheels only. That's not very German. All of this feeds into the hype as the GT2 was nicknamed the Widowmaker, a car so aggressive, a machine so reckless, a concept with so much anger, it'd punch you in the face with a set of brass knucks, and then as soon as you stagger to your feet, finish the job with a shotgun, thus blowing your brains out the back of your head. This is why to me and to many others, it's one of the coolest cars ever built. Look at her. She looks like a big bar of smooth handcrafted chocolate with cocoa beans handpicked from the freshest parts of rural Africa. This particular example of the 993 GT2 is finished in a stunning mocha brown with matching rims, adding even more desirability to an already special car. At a car auction here in London, bidders weren't shy about it either, bidding the car all the way up to a staggering £1.8 million. That's roughly $2.3 million. That's almost as much as a brand new Bugatti Chiron, and for a 20-year-old 911. What's even more remarkable is that some believe the car is an assembly of engineering design mistakes that should undermine its performance. The engine is mounted over the rear axle, which can compromise handling. The 911's horizontally opposed engine or boxer engine isn't typically associated with refined horsepower, and until relatively recently, as I mentioned during the test drive, the engine was air-cooled, like the original Volkswagen Beetle. So essentially, what the buyer's gone and done is spend in excess of $2 million on an automotive mishap. But somehow, I think he's perfectly happy. On any other car, should you open the hood and find nothing but an empty space, you would be perfectly within reason to chase the dealer you bought it from with a set of hedge cutters. However, the 993 GT2 is not just any car. In the back, under the restraining plate, sits that straight six, arguably the most impressive inline six power unit to date, twin turbocharged with only the finest champion German thoroughbred horses pushing it along. Before we head out to the runway, let's hear how it sounds a cappella. Right, here we are at the runway. Let's see what a true inline six can do. And off the line we go. Minimal tyre smoke, ABS off, traction control off, third gear, 90, fourth gear, 110, 120, fifth gear, RPM pushing all the way to the limit. Not too much drama. The car remains planted. The car remains cool. The 993 GT2 has got more horsepower in comparison to the original version of the 993. Hopefully that will push us along to a fast time. 166, 168, come on, 168.75. Not a bad time at all, not bad going from the old fella. There's still life in the old dog yet. Okay, now where I think this car will excel, the short burst acceleration test. Ready? Set, and away we go. First gear straight up into second. Now, as I mentioned, the car is lighter than the previous version, so this is where the car should excel. 96.35. That is a fast time. Brilliant. A good overall showing. Shows there's substance with style here, power and refinement. So, Is this the greatest straight six powered car of all time? Some may say that title belongs to the E46 M3. Others would argue the Toyota Supra or Nissan's R34 Skyline. TVR owners, albeit with pieces of carbon fibre sticking out the side of their heads, would throw the Tuscan and Cigaris into the mix, and I dare not have this debate without mentioning the legendary Mercedes-Benz Gullwing 300 SL. Look, the list of candidates is endless. With so many ballot boxes to choose from, it all boils down to personal preference. For me, I adore this GT2 because beyond the stunning looks, it has so much grip, so much performance. It feels so good to just drive, whether it be fast, slow, cruising, racing. Each turn of the wheel feels like a celebration of mechanical excellence. It's a motoring showcase of what can be achieved when perfection is not the benchmark, but merely a minimum expectation. And it comes as no surprise, as with 50 years of practice, no manufacturer has mastered their flagship model more than Porsche have with the 911. With more championship wins, more podiums and more international titles than its rivals, the 911 GT2 boasts a more impressive racing pedigree than any other road car ever produced, and its performance continues to set the bar by which all other sports cars are measured. On the basis of pure physics alone, this shouldn't work. But as you saw, it does more than that. It's brilliant.